2 miles in, 600 feet, and FJP, stand by. 3 greens, full flap, FJP, gear down. FJP, clear to land. Land, FJP. Okay, welcome back to Fast Hit Performance then and Shadowlands HQ, where I'm teaching you to do the do like Betty Boo, and you are too, and that has been lost on about 95% of my audience. But we're going to be doing straight in approaches today, straight in approaches, SIAs at Al Dhafra in the UAE. And this is quite important really. It's a great way of getting into an airfield, and I think it's a very underused resource, and you can mess it up as well, as quite a lot of my students do when they try it for the first time. So let's go through some of it, shall we, whilst I'm in this neon glow thing, and we'll see whether we can maybe get some teaching points across to you. Okay, so this is the Al Dhafra airfield then we're looking at. Again, I've taken jets into Al Dhafra before, some tornadoes. We approached from the south. It was about an 8 ship. We were on the way to Malaysia for an exercise, and the lead, I was number 2. He went US. He said, number 2, yours? I was like, oh, thanks, boss. Where the hell are we? Anyway, we're supposed to recover for the field. I ended up recovering for this runway, which is on the left-hand side, and then doing a massive turn all the way around for the right-hand runway. So today, we're going to rectify that, and we're going to break the approach to 3-1 right, but we're going to do it straight in. I put a TACAN on the runway then, that is 45 X-ray, because the TACAN for Al Dhafra is center of the field, 96 X-ray, and that's going to mess up our calculations for the 3-degree descent that we kind of need to sort our straight-in approach out. It's 11,000 foot runway. There are some ranges that we need to consider for a straight-in approach. Those ranges, 15 miles in, I want to be on the center line of runway 310, and I want to be at 2,000 feet, around about 300 knots if I can. That's going to make it easy for me then to carry on until I'm 12 miles, get the old air brake out or transit that speed off, because at 12 miles I want to be 250 knots, which is the Hornet gear and limiting speed in this, and then I want to travel the gear, travel the flaps, and I want to start my descent nicely composed, all configured at 7 miles, 2,000 feet. Now on the way in here, every mile we're going to multiply by 3, and we're going to try and be at that height in order to have a nice 3-degree glide path. So when we hit 6 miles times 3, I want to be 1,800 feet. 5 miles times 3, 1,500. 4 miles, 1,200. 3 miles, 9. 2, 6. And then obviously we're cracking on there, aren't we? 1 times 3 is 300 feet, and then I'm looking at the runway and we're going to land. Hopefully the airfield is about 50 feet high, so I'm not overly worried about the elevation of the field here. We use it at sea level. We're flying 2992. I'll get the jet set up real quick, and then we'll just go and show you how to get on a center line pretty much, and how to land from a straight-in approach whilst playing some banging tunes, fam. Okay, so we're in the aircraft now. We've got to set up for the descent. We're going to go through our fire ads, our pre-descent checks. In the Hornet, they're kind of, it basically just says don't fog the jet up, okay? And maybe select the rad out if you feel like it and put the hook down. But really, we're looking at fuel then, making sure that our fuel is good for recovery. I'm just going to set a bingo here, about 2,500 pounds. I won't need it, but let's have a look on this one under checklist. Make sure we're below 3,300. We are 33,000 for recovery. We're going to send about 360 knots. It's pretty good. Instruments are synchronized. They are. Just check altimeters them. 2992 is good. Radio. I'll be calling Al Dhafra in a second. Altimeters we've done, demist, and safety altitude not required. Primary instrument for navigation today is going to be the HSI. TACAN needs to come on, and we're going to set on the TACAN now 45X. It will appear on the left. There it is. And now we're going to make sure that the course bar is set for something useful for us, which is 310. C-Cell 310. Make it a primary nav aid first. Now go C-Cell 310, and what you'll find is that we get this course bar, and we can just type in 310 or just rotate it as you just saw. So I'm going to go through there. 20 mile scale will be easier for me, and I'm going to try in the descent, a little bit hot, 80% is good, air brake travels, crawl round back onto it to get ourselves at 15 miles, 2,000 feet, which should be AGL, but it will be above ground level, it will be above the desert floor, and we're trying to line ourselves on it. So trying to hold 360 in the descent, guys, and you should be sat about here in jets, really. A lot of people sat here going, oh, look at me. You want to be about here. You need to look around the cockpit, all right? So we've got everything in visual display. 10,000 for 2. Nicely closing in on that localizer there. 21 miles for 15. I'm probably tight, but that's all right. Legend. And we'll just see whether we get ourselves nicely down in time. So you can see that the TACAN is coming in from the left hand side in the HUD there. So we just put a little bit more, and it's 310, so I'll take a nice cut about 30 degrees. 5,000 for 2 to level. 19 for 15. It is a tight feeding, guys, but you know what I mean. We've got lives to live, haven't we? 4 for 2. 8% now being set. That's nice on the throttles. 3 for 2, 1 to level. We're coming in there, follow the TACAN in, 350, allow the speed to come back, leaving that air brake out there. Leveling for 2, and Al-DAF for approach, FJP for visual recovery with alpha. FJP, roger that, call visual with the field switch in the tower. FJP, I'll be positioning for a straight in, roger FJP. So slightly to the right of the centre line there. Now, by 15 we're good. Below 300 then it's nice. I'm going to let the speed come back to about 250 because as I approach 12 miles, I want to configure the jet for landing, all right? So back in the jet then, and you can see we're pretty much on the centre line there. We've got some runways out there, so I'm visual with the field. I'll call them up, and FJP, visual with the field to tower. FJP. Al Dafford Tower, FJP, positioning straight and approach. FJP. Call 5 miles with intentions, 2 miles of gear down. FJP, okay. So looking at 12 miles now, getting below 250. Below 250, speed brakes coming in, indicating in gears travel, and flaps can travel. Now I'm going to resist the temptation for the jet to balloon. There's the E-bar, signaling that the gear has come down, but I will check that in a second as well. Don't trust your HUD. HUDs lie to you a lot of the time. So I'm pushing the stick forwards just to make sure that the E-bar doesn't, the velocity vector doesn't float. The velocity vector in the center then, below the W. 80% should be good, yeah, that's good. And then that's going to come down. Now I'm going to trim the E-bar up, trim the velocity vector up, sorry, to meet the E-bar there, trimming it up. And then I'm going to capture it at the left hand. I've got a whole video on that if you want to see that. So now we're nicely in. I believe it's the right hand runway we should be on, which is that one there. 5 miles my next call, next event for me, 2,000 feet and 7 miles for the descent. Technically it should be 2,100 feet for the descent because we're going to multiply each of our ranges by about 3 to get the height that we should be at for the descent. Yeah, not easy in track IR, is it? No, much easier approach than the one I actually flew it for real many years ago in the Tornado, that's for sure. So satisfying that there, approaching 7 miles. That's looking good. 7 miles in, starting the descent. Ignore the TACAN now. So put the nose down for about 3 degrees. Let the nose come down, and just the power then comes off. Don't push the stick like I just did. Go back to my old days. Just bring the power back, and then settle the E-bar on the runway you want. That's a taxiway in the middle, guys. Runways to the left and right. Yeah, you wonder why I had a problem. I'm having a problem in a video game. Try doing it for real. It's a nightmare, fam. So now I'm looking for 6 miles, 1,800 feet, so slightly high. Next event, 5 miles with intentions. 3 greens, full flap. 5 miles, 1,500 feet is what I want to be at. That'll be intentions. It'll be FJP, 5 miles to land. FJP, call 2 miles of gear down. FJP. Keep it coming in then. So I'm looking at 5 miles was 15, so I'm slightly high. Looking 4 miles at 12. So I'm probably about 2.5 degree glide slope in here, which I'd rather have a 3. So I'm just going to keep that velocity vector up there to let the runway come down. My head-up display, that will help me out a lot. Ignoring the TACAN, just using the ranges now. 4 for 1,200, so I'm slightly high again, which is fine. Again, it's probably approaching about 3 degrees now, so I'll put the thing on the thing. Velocity vector on the runway then, that's good. No wind today, as you can see. Nudge the velocity vector down if you need to. Center of the E-bar, 8.1 alpha, and that is us pretty much squared away. Next event, 3 miles, 900 feet, so I am still high, about 100 feet, so I'll just bring that velocity vector down a little bit. And then we drive this the whole way in, guys. Greatest video you ever saw, wasn't it? How exciting is this? Guys, if you are interested in joining the flight school, then Tim at fastjetperformance.com, write to me. Make sure you unspam my email. It's having some problems with some people at the moment. 2 miles in, 600 feet, and FJP, stand by. 3 greens, full flap, FJP, gear down. FJP, clear to land. Land, FJP. Let's have a look outside. How pretty she looks. She looks so pretty. Pretty jet, pretty jet. And we cover all this in the Primo on F18, F5, then the guys go on to fly F16, AV8B, Mirage, F1, F14, anything really, but we teach F18 and F5. Last check then, 3 greens, full flap with clearance, toes clear, driving it in then, driving it in, put the thing on the thing, look for the white markers, driving it in, And at shore establishments, apparently you can flare a little bit the Hornet, just a tiny weeny bit. Don't use air brake on approach. Just a little bit of a flare, power coming off. There she is, squeaky squeak, squeak squeak. Yeah, lad. Bit of braking. And that's it, guys, really. I'll just roll it out. So as I said, don't rush a straight in approach, really. Get yourself nicely through 15 miles at 2,000 feet. Get yourself slow, below 300 knots I would. So at 12 miles, you can be below 250 to configure the gear. And then at 7 miles, you're nicely stable in the E-bar. And then you can start your approach at 7 miles. It shouldn't be a massive drama, guys. Hey, thanks so much. Tim Davies, Fast Performance.